All right. How's everybody doing? Uh, just wanted to kind of make a video. I kind of said I was going to make a video about this. I made that video the other day. I uploaded it when I was putting the shocks on my truck, and I was uh, I was kind of thinking about some things, but I was working, man. I was putting shocks on. I wasn't trying to do all that. Hell, I had to cut the damn bolt. The cab shocks had never been changed. It's amazing when you start doing stuff and you realize that the bigger shocks, on the drives and the steer, that was easy. The cab shocks were rusted in there. It was ridiculous. And the ones they sell you now, the bolt, the hole for the bolt is extremely tight. Um, so I had to go and buy new bolts anyway. I got the first one in there, but I couldn't get the second one to actually go in. So I ended up, I just took the whole bracket off because it wasn't gonna go in there. And yeah, this man, I hate this thing about, boy. You get on that camera, man. You get to looking at yourself. But anyway, when I was making that video, I was telling y'all that I've been running a team, and I pretty much said, if you could do it, if you could find somebody to actually do the team with or run a team with, it would be advantageous for you to do it. Just because, not even that there's specifically like team freight out here. There are team loads like on the Landstar board. But main thing was most of the loads we have, you can turn those loads. So sometimes you'll see a load pop up somewhere. It'll be a team specific load. Last week when I was in Houston, or I wasn't in Houston yet, we were coming back. They had a hazmat load going to Joliet, Illinois, and they needed a team that was going to pay $6,000. And, next day delivery, so on and so forth. And that's just the way the game works a lot of time with team freight. It's, I'm not going to say it's hit or miss, because either way, you're going to be able to turn the majority of the loads that are shown as solo loads. They'll let you deliver those loads a day or two early if you need to. They'll be, most of the time, you can talk to the agent and make sure they call the customer on either end to make sure they'll take it early. I haven't had any problems with it. So you figure you're doing all your loads $2.50, $3 a mile. You're turning them a day or two early, all the better. So I just think it's a good deal. I'm not the biggest. I don't like really pulling a drive in, but I'm doing it now because, again, I got a co-driver I can do it with. So anyway, though, I just think that might be something some of you guys might want to look into, because this is my thinking. The reason I'm saying that is because some of the stuff that I've been paying attention to with the economics. Okay. I listen to people like Money GPS, Greg Hunter, USA Watchdog, stuff like that. And there's likely going to be some inflation coming, and that'll probably show up in our rate structure, because you're looking at where you got the flexibility. So if any of y'all don't look at Freight Waves, that's a website y'all should probably start checking out. It's a website called Freight Waves. Bookmark it. And you can get the emails, put your email in there, they'll send you an email link. And it's just a good overall freight website. And they had a pretty interesting story talking about they always talk about the tender rejections for contract freight, where tenders are rejected by carriers for different reasons, of course. It's not always based on the rate. Sometimes they don't have the trucks in the area to do it, so on and so forth. But they were equating that to an increase in rates. So I'm thinking, and this is just my opinion, I'm thinking that if we're going to have, because this is going off of the other economic stuff that I look at, if we're going to start to have inflation coming into the system, because they're going to probably have to increase the stimulus just to make sure a certain segment of our population can continue to live, with so many people being out of work and so on and so forth. They got to get everything kickstarted back up again. And if the stimulus comes in, it'll probably be inflationary. And I think that it'll end up hitting the rates. And I think it'll end up we'll have an increase in the freight rate. But it'll be an increase in freight rate without an increase in the fuel price. And I don't think we've really seen that here in recent history, because there isn't going to be the demand there for fuel, because driven miles still haven't gotten back up to where they were. You just don't have as many people out there driving around in vehicles, just not because they're not going to work, so on and so forth. And I think we also lost a good number of trucks also. I still think some of these big fleets aren't running all their trucks the way they would want to be running them. So I just think if we have inflationary pressure, I think the freight rates are going to increase. And I think it would be best. This is long story short. It would be best if you could find you somebody you can run a team with for a couple of weeks to a couple of months, at least through the holiday season. I think there'll be a lot of money to be made, if you can do that. And so that's just my advice on the team side of things. Y'all saw me. We're gonna go to the little maintenance stuff here. Y'all saw me putting the shocks on the truck in the last video. One thing I'll say, I put Gabriel's on the rear. We're gonna run those for a little bit. I didn't want to spend the money on the factory ones, but I'm gonna say this. Typically the factory ones, when they fail, they do leak. But mine, when I pulled them, they weren't leaking. It wasn't visible. But they, what you're doing when you're compressing them and stuff with the oil shocks, it won't be as apparent as with the gas shocks. When you have a gas shock and it's just doing this, it's gone. With the oil shock, it'll do that too. And you'll be able to tell it failed. It's just that sometimes with the oil shocks, they have to pump up. But mine were fed. They failed on the rear, but they weren't leaking. So that's how you can check them, because you have to have compression and rebound. That's why a lot of people prefer a gas shock, because it does a better job of keeping that tire in contact with the ground. It's just that it seems like they just don't last as long for the service we put them through with the big trucks, But that you can tell with the gas shock when you pump them up, they do a better job of keeping that with the rebound. You know what I'm saying? They'll keep them tires planted. So that's why a lot of people prefer them. It's just that with a gas shock, a lot of times it's hard to tell when they fail because they don't leak any oil. You can't. You have to take it off, and you have to compress it, see if it's actually holding its own to see if it's actually gone. And I guess it's kind of sad. It's the same thing I had to do with this factory shocks on the rear axle of the tractor. So, but that's why some people prefer the oil shocks over the gas shocks, because you can tell there's a visible tell when they fail, and that's the leaking of the oil. The seal will go out or something like that, and it'll be leaking oil. So. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video, I was at the Houston yard. Richard Brothers had an auction in Fort Worth last week. I was at they had the BJ Services trucks they were selling at. They had the trucks in Houston, but they were getting sold in the Fort Worth auction. Okay, and ran into a couple cats over there looking at some of the trucks, And one thing I want to tell y'all, just if y'all are gonna be going to these auctions and looking at these trucks, please pay attention to the hours on the trucks. Okay, you I know those trucks are always advertised as low mileage trucks, but if you got a truck with 200,000 miles on it and it's got 14,000 hours, that's a problem. Okay, you would be better off buying a truck with 600,000 or 700,000 miles. Really, if you got somebody that doesn't idle their truck, if a truck's got an APU on it or something like that, you could have a truck with 700,000 or 800,000 miles on it, man, that will only have 14,000 to 17,000 hours on it. You know, if you're looking at a truck that's got 200,000 miles or 300,000 miles on it, and it's got 13, 14,000 hours on it, that truck idled a lot on site. And of course, they idle a lot on site because that's what they use to run the pumps. If it's an acid truck or something like that, if the truck has a PTO on it, man, the guys are sitting outside, they're sleeping in those trucks. You know, so don't fall for the okie doke when buying any of these oil field trucks. Always pay attention to the hours. Y'all already know, especially with those trucks, those BJ Services trucks with that ISX Cummins engine in them. Y'all already know, man, those trucks have a problem. Those engines have a problem with the, what is it, the coking in the cylinders or something like that, lining up with carbon. And it ends up getting onto the liners and scratching up the liners, and you have a problem with the rings sealing up, and you have an oil consumption issue. And so if you got a truck that was idling for 14,000 hours, it's only got 200,000 miles on it. So this truck spent the majority of his life literally idling on site and not really getting driven like it should have been. That's probably not a good deal. You know, even though they are going to be advertised as a low mile truck, it's not going to be a good deal because it's been used in a way that's far more destructive than had it been driven. Okay. So I just want y'all, if y'all are going through these auctions, please pay attention to the hours that are on these trucks. Because y'all know with the modern emissions technology, you're really not supposed to idle any of these trucks that have DPF filters on them and or EGRs. It's just not good for them. You know, let alone you're not supposed to idle any of these engines. I mean, unless it's cold, of course. But you know, with the filters and everything, and the EGRs, and you talk about the exhaust gas temperature not being up to temperature, you're not cleaning out the filter, you're running a rich. It shouldn't be because the computer's supposed to control this, but just say you're running a rich mixture through your exhaust, through your EGR, back into your engine, and it's just not burning completely. You're building up carbon. That's your problem with the Cummins, you know. So you don't want to buy that. You know, so just pay attention to that when y'all are looking at those trucks. And you know, if you got something that's literally sitting in 200,000 miles and sitting on 12, 13, 14,000 hours, that's not a good deal. It's not a good buy, man. Because again, the truck idled. That's basically 500,000 miles worth of idle. I thought y'all correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I thought it was what do you do, 60 miles per hour of idle time? That's the formula, I guess, that's used by most people. So just give that some thought, y'all. And that's about it, man. I just wanted to kind of come on here and chit chat, shoot shit. Y'all be smart out there in your trucking, make your money. And another thing I want to say too, if y'all end up with Landstar running a team, okay, there's gonna be a lot of freight during the holiday season, okay, that's gonna come through, and you know, they'll try to get you to run something that'll take about a week to 2 weeks to run it, right? Usually it's FedEx or UPS, okay? Make sure you run your numbers, okay? Make sure you run your numbers. Make sure you know how much deadhead is involved in whatever route they put together, because they typically put these routes together The agents are taking things that FedEx can't or UPS can't do in their system or doesn't want to do in their system, and they're putting a route together, and they're posting it on the board essentially. So you need to thoroughly run through those routes and the mileages involved in the routes, and don't take the agent's word for it. Run through those mileages and see if that's something that'll work for you as far as making money. Because I've looked at some of the stuff on the board, man, called on some of it too, and you're looking at one of these things, man, had almost 2,500 miles of deadhead on it, and they weren't going to pay for the deadhead miles, or and wasn't even going to pay for the fuel surcharge on deadhead miles. And so just please, if y'all are going to do this stuff, please pay attention, because you're out here to make money, and I know sometimes they'll put a number on that board, man. It'll be, oh, you're going to make $25,000 in a week and a half. And, y'all know the game, man. Y'all can go call Trey Lee with Walmart, and hell, man, if you get over there and it's a good couple of weeks where you're rolling Walmart, dude, he's paying you, I think it's still $700 a day. I think, if I ain't mistaken, he might have increased it. But back when I did it, it was $700 a day. I ain't never had a problem with what Trey does. Trey's always paid everybody good. So you're getting $700 a day, and you're getting 74%. Well, no, 72%. I'm sorry, 72%, because you're using Walmart's trailer. So you would, in my opinion, if you can get into a good Walmart DC, and when I say good, you're gonna probably have to get out. If y'all are in Texas, it's gonna probably be New Braunfels and Plainview. You're gonna have to get out in West Texas, or you're gonna have to go New Braunfels. New Braunfels will run down to the valley every day, and you'll run some stuff into Austin and stuff like that too. They cover that area, but a lot of what New Braunfels ran was down to the valley. So I always did pretty good. Those were out and backs, pretty good runs. Sealy, if you're in Houston's not bad. What they'll usually do with Sealy, man, they'll send you out anyway. I came in through Sealy one time and ended up in Plainview, and ended up going all the way out to Albuquerque. So can't complain. That was a good week. I did 3,000 miles one week over there doing that stuff, man. Wonderful week. So I bring up Walmart just so y'all understand. If there's a load posted on the board and they're telling you, again, as a team, all right, that you can run and make 20,000 miles, $20,000 in a week, and you end up running these miles, and you're doing, say the pay miles is 8,800, you're doing 2,500 miles of deadhead miles, so you're over 10,000 miles. Run your numbers, because I'm just saying you could almost do as good dealing with Walmart, because you're getting more of a percentage because you're using their trailer. Okay. And so that's the name of the game, man. I mean, unless you got your own trailer. If you got your own trailer, more power to you. But you're not going to be able to do that if you're doing FedEx or UPS stuff. You're going to use a Landstar trailer. So they're going to give you 65%. So it's $20,000. All right, man, whatever. But you're only getting 65% of that. So you might have been better off just running the board, and just hitting it when the spot is good, So it's just something to think about, y'all. Just take your time with everything you're doing. As things continue to, I don't want to say devolve, but as things continue to play out, just make sure you're in a position where you can take advantage of whatever comes. That's the best advice I can give anybody in trucking or in any business. Don't put yourself too far on one side with an expectation. Kind of stay where you can move, if you got to move right or left quickly. Um, and that's about it, man. Like I said, run your numbers. Don't get caught up in none of those the big rates that you see on the board. Oh, $39,000 for a month. Okay, man, $39,000 for a month, and well, maybe that's the potential, but mm, run your numbers. I'll be the first one to tell you, man. I was doing Central Freight with Landstar, making $1.42 a mile, but I was making good money because it was a consistent run. So I'm not trying to contradict myself. I'm just saying that route I was doing made sense financially because I made money on it. There was no deadhead in it. All miles were paid, no issues. So if you're gonna do one of those runs, just make sure you ask all the right questions and get all the information. Because even though Central Freight that wasn't a big top dollar, they ain't paying no $2 a mile. I was I was getting, of course, 72% because we were using their trailers, 73%, I think. But it's still $1.42 a mile, and hell, I made good money running that set route. It was a set route every week, and had no complaints, man. The only problem we had with that, the reason we had to stop doing it, because Central Freight didn't pay. They didn't pay they didn't pay Landstar. From what I remember, because we got a call from the agent that was running it, and he told us all to go home, make sure they got you going back to the house because they hadn't paid Landstar in about 2 weeks. He said it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that Central Freight owed Landstar, and we never got called back. So that just makes me think they probably were fighting that out. So, whatever. So I bring that up to say that there is potential, even though it doesn't pay. It's not no superstar rate. It's consistent. So I understand that, but you still got to make sure it's actually paying you what you should be getting paid. You know, um, Especially with the deadhead miles. I got a real problem with deadhead miles. When an agent expects me to take on deadhead miles for free because they're giving me something that's quote unquote consistent, I have a problem with that. I don't believe that because believe you me, they wouldn't do anything for free if the shoe was on the other foot. Okay. That's just a fact. Y'all got to remember that. So that's it, man. Y'all be profitable, make your money, be smart and safe out there in your trucking. And I might do one of these every week. There's always some crap comes up, man, I want to talk about. So I might make a video like this every week. But hey, man, y'all be good. Take care. Some of y'all, man, I know y'all were. I got a comment or two from guys that were asking about the Nexic. You have to go on. You can get the Nexic. You can get the actual interface on Amazon for about $600 or something like that, $700. But you're gonna have to go on the DTNA. I think that's the Detroit. I don't know, Detroit, North America, whatever it's called, Daimler DTNA website, and register there as an owner operator or third party repair facility. And then you'll have the Nexic site where you can actually order the software. Those two sites are kind of connected because the login is going to be the same, if I remember correctly. And you'll download the license. You're only going to download the license for the software, and boom, you're off to the races. And again, that's something else that you need to have. If y'all are going over there looking at these trucks at these auctions, you need to have your computer with software on it for whatever engine the trucks are you're going to be buying. I don't deal with Cummins engines, but I mean, if you got a Cummins, get the software for Cummins. That way you can go on there and actually see what that truck's been doing. Don't be buying these trucks, man, just based off of feel and how it looks. You need to get in there and actually see what the truck's been doing. So get you. I know on the Nexic, you get a DDEC report. You can print it out. You see what the hours are, fuel consumed. You can look at everything on there. And that's what you really need to be doing with a used truck. So again, be smart, be blessed, be profitable, be safe, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.